So home staging is we want to stage the house or decorate the house with the purpose of selling it.
Okay.
All
Sure.
right.
Yeah.
So what we want to do is home staging is used as a marketing tool.
Sure. So when it
Yeah.
comes to home staging,
Yes.
because you indicated rightly
Yes.
that it is for the purpose of selling the property faster and giving that first impression. So now what happens? Because there's that tendency when a client comes in, when I'm showing a client's property,
Yes.
and then they love the furniture because definitely to give that impression. So what happens if a client actually loves the furniture, not the property? Definitely they're buying the property,
Yes.
but it only made sense because of the furniture that has been put in. But now it is just being staged.
Yeah.
Where do you
So the thing is, because I'm an interior designer, they can always hire me later on
Okay.
to do that design for them. I
Yeah.
mean, this is the beautiful thing about home staging is that
Sure.
it can serve both of us.
Yeah.
You as the realtor, it serves you because it helps you get more clients.
Sure.
It helps you get the listings. It helps you sell faster, and it helps you get more profit.
Sure.
Me as a designer, it helps me get more clients for my interior design
Sure.
because they can see the potential
Yeah.
of their new home. And remember, this is a new chapter in their
Yeah, yeah,
lives.
sure.
There's a lot of excitement.
Yeah.
They want something new.
Yeah.
Right? They want something that feels like their home.
Yeah.
So the staging shows them that potential.
Yeah.
So if they ever want to go, if they love the furniture,
Sure.
that's where I come
You
in.
come
So they
in.
can always hire me
Sure.
to help them redesign their home exactly the way they want it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's break it down now. Now that the home has been staged,
Yes.
but now I want you to explain on what if the property has already got furniture, but the owner, since they're looking at either renting it out or selling it as it were, they have their furniture.
Yeah.
How do you come in to rearrange stuff? Because the challenge that we've been finding as agents, you'd find that somebody that is selling their property, they are attached to their property. You
Yeah.
find that their photos are cluttered there. Maybe there's a souvenir that they want or whatever they want it to be there. But you'd find then maybe the choice of colors will come into
Yeah.
play, all those issues. But it becomes a challenge for us to tell them, no, listen, remove this, remove this color, or paint this thing and all. But they want you to sell it first, though.
Yeah, look, I think because obviously it's a big decision.
Yeah.
And it's something it's always very emotional for the
Sure.
seller. The thing is, we would need to explain, like you said, we would need to explain the reason
Sure.
why it needs to be staged in a certain way.
Yeah.
And I'll give you examples of how it differs from interior design.
Yes.
So when I do interior design for a client, I will sit down with them, go through, explain to them the design process.
Sure.
I'll explain to them that I sit with you guys, I show you inspiration images. I try to understand from you what your style is. What colors do you love?
Yeah.
What do you want your home to feel like,
Yeah.
right? And the way I design a house is really specific to the owner
Sure.
because he's going to live there and it's their life. So
Sure.
everything is tailored to what they need,
Sure.
okay?
Mm-hmm.
Home staging, on the other hand, has nothing to do with the seller.
Okay.
And it has everything to do with the buyer.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Right? And because the buyer is not one specific person,
Sure.
it's like a wide audience.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
The way we stage the house needs to cater to that wide audience.
Wide audience. Yeah.
So what we do is it needs to be depersonalized. This is the thing I think that sellers find it a bit difficult.
Sure.
I'll give you simple things, for example, like having personal photos and
Sure.
stuff. All those should not be in the house. Purely because when we stage, we need to think of the buyer psychology, his frame of mind. The whole purpose of staging is we want him to walk into that house and to imagine himself and his family living in that home.
Sure.
And that that dream or imagination is broken
Yeah.
as soon as he sees another family's
Yeah.
pictures on the walls, for example,
Yeah.
memorabilia that have
Yeah.
nothing to do with
Sure.
him. Pictures of a jersey of football, and
Yeah.
he doesn't like that
Yeah.
team. He's
To
not
put
gonna
up.
exactly. He's not gonna want to be there. So I
Gotcha.
mean, we really need to depersonalize it
Sure.
and make it as neutral as
As
possible.
possible.
Even the specific design styles. Like some people might like a very specific design style, very bright colors,
Yeah,
whatever. You cannot stage with that.
Yeah.
You need to use very neutral colors because those are universal.
Universal, yeah. True.
Very neutral furnitures because those will be universal.
Sure.
They will appeal to a wide range of
range,
audience.
yeah.
Let's say, for example, you have a seller who's very religious.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Even those, they should be taken down.
Yeah, sure.
Nothing to do with being offensive, nothing to do with that. It's just that we want the buyer to really imagine
Sure.
that this could potentially be the place where he will move
Yeah.
and settle in.
Awesome.
Yeah. And I know it really is usually a bit tough to explain to the seller,
Yeah.
but we just need to explain to them that, listen, at the end of the day, once
Yeah.
it's sold, they will be moving
Moving, yeah.
and having their own new beginning.
Sure.
And they'll be taking everything with them
Awesome.
and starting their own new beginning. So they shouldn't be afraid
Awesome.
of that. Yeah.
You're now educating me. I'm now getting the difference between the home staging and interior design. So in my understanding right now,
Yeah.
home staging, like you actually explained it, it's tailored to the buyer. It's all about the buyer and nothing to do with either me, the agent, or the homeowner. Then on the other hand, interior design is tailored for the person who is going to
For
be
the
doing
homeowner.
So now it's done according to their taste and specifications.
Yes.
Okay, so in an instance where home staging, I think it's a new thing that is coming in Zambia. I know in other parts of the world it's been done in other parts of Africa, like South Africa, they are widely using it and all. What are the benefits of a home that is staged and a home that is not staged?
Yeah. So yeah, you're right. It's very well known in Europe, in America, all over the world
Sure.
really. And it is picking up in Africa.
Sure.
In South Africa specifically, they already stage a lot of homes.
Sure.
Johannesburg and Cape Town. There's a lot of realtors now that won't accept selling a house without it being staged because they have understood the real impact on it.
Sure.
Now, let's explore what is that.
Yeah.
What are those impacts? So the thing is, like I said, all we do is we target the buyer.
Sure.
Okay, but there are benefits to that.
Yeah.
The whole point is we need to look at the buyer psychology. Right? And not only when people buy things, it doesn't have to be a house. It can be anything. Why do you buy? You have a brand of shoes. Why do you buy one brand over another brand? It's always a story, and there's some story attached to it. So it's always 95% of the time, it's an emotional decision.
Sure.
Right? So there's a saying that I really like. They say you buy with emotion, and then you justify it later with logic.
True.
Yeah.
You're right.
So you never buy with logic. You actually buy with emotion.
Emotions. Yeah.
Okay. So in order to use staging as a marketing tool, we play on emotions. It's the buyer psychology, and we want to build a story for them.
Sure.
Okay. And all of that ultimately will lead to being able to reduce the days on market.
Okay.
And how that is done now. Traditionally, people used to do a drive-by.
Oh yes.
Yeah, that
sure.
was the olden days. So before calling the agent that they want to see the house, they go and check it out on their own. They do a drive-by, they want to check it. And everyone knew that curb appeal was the most important thing.
Yeah.
The landscape, the entrance, that had to be spot on because of the drive-by.
Yeah.
And that was the first impression that a potential buyer would have of the house, right?
True.
So you want to make sure that the house looks good, the entrance is clean, it's nice and clear. That would give them the first impression.
Sure.
Nowadays, the drive-by is done online. You need to remember that people don't drive around anymore.
Yeah.
Well, not as much. They first stop
Yeah.
would be online, looking at the
The
pictures.
pictures.
So that would be your first curb appeal, I
Sure.
should say.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is the first barrier, or that is the first stage at
Sure.
where the buyer will decide, the potential buyer will
Sure.
decide, okay, is this worth checking out or
Or
not?
not.
So you need to impress them on that level. And
Sure.
they will compare.
Yeah.
They will compare one house to the next.
So there.
Take, for example, two houses in the same neighborhood, plus minus the same the same square meterage,
Yeah, sure.
right? They will compare those two. And the one that looks better is obviously the one that they will go and visit first.
Sure.
So that is the basis of how it works. It's really
Yeah.
targeting the first impression, and we want to make a good first impression.
Yeah. Just like one of my mentors says, one of his sayings, he says, your first impression might be the last.
Yeah.
So depending on how the client or the prospective buyer would view the property, that's what they'll go with.
Yeah.
If at all they find a house, like we say, that is cluttered, personalized with your photos, or maybe an offensive picture, whether either religion or
artistic.
or an artistic,
Yeah.
or that will actually be a put off. It might have all the right square meters and the location and all, but you'd find that no, what they see would actually.
Yeah, no, you'd be surprised. I mean, there's even statistics that that people, when they actually visit a house,
Sure.
they make a decision whether they like it or not in the
not.
first 10 seconds.
True.
Yeah, as soon as you open that door and they walk in,
Yeah, sure.
like in the entrance, they actually make a decision, subconsciously, whether they like the house or not.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it is really important to think of all these aspects. Yeah. So the benefit to you would be able to get more clients,
Yeah.
get more listings, and
Sure.
be able to sell it for faster,
Yeah.
right, and for more profit.
Sure.
The advantage to the seller is that he sells it faster. And he sells it for more.
Yeah.
The advantage for the buyer is that he finds a great house that he's in love with.
Yeah, sure.
The advantage for me is hopefully after that he will hire me.